There is a website that is completely legal and fully operating right now, where you can bet on literally anything. A sports game, an election, a celebrity breakup, or whether a world leader is going to be alive next month. Wait, what? Now, I don't mean betting in the friendly wager with your buddy kind of way. I mean platforms with real money, millions of users, and an industry that grew by 1,600% in a single year. These aren't fringe apps either. They're partnered with CNN. They're on CNBC. The Golden Globes was literally updating audiences on betting odds between commercial breaks this year. I'm talking about platforms where you can bet on elections, the weather, how long a press conference takes, whether a CEO gets fired, and yes, whether specific people are going to survive what's currently happening in the world. And nobody can even agree on what to call it. The people running these platforms say it's finance. The government says it might be gambling. And a handful of states say it's illegal. This is bigger than most people realize. And it's starting to affect real life in ways that should genuinely make you stop and think. We're diving into prediction markets, what they are, how they basically blew up overnight, and some of the completely unhinged things people are putting real money on. But with this comes something a little bit more unsettling, because when you can bet on real world events, it turns out some people just don't want to predict what happens. They want to make sure of it. Okay, so first things first, what even is a prediction market? And I'm not gonna sit here and throw some financial jargon at you, because honestly, it's simpler than it sounds. And well, I'm no finance guru. You know how you and a few friends might throw a few bucks down on who wins the Super Bowl? This is basically that, except instead of your buddy's living room, it's a slick app. And instead of 20 bucks, people are dropping thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. You pick something you think is gonna happen, you put money on it, and if you're right, you get paid. Will this team win? Will this person get fired? Will it rain on this specific day in this city? If you can think of it, there's probably a market for it. And someone has definitely put money on it. The two big names right now are Kalshi and Polymarket. And these aren't some sketchy offshore gambling sites. Kalshi is literally regulated by the US government as a financial platform. They have ads on bus stops in Washington, D.C. CNN and CNBC both struck deals with them to use their odds in their news coverage. And then the Golden Globes had announcers updating live betting odds. This isn't underground anymore. It's prime time. And the growth has been insane. Kalshi's trading volume in 2025 went up over 1,600% from the prior year. Not double, not triple, 1,600% in 1 year. So whatever this thing is, it isn't small anymore, and it's not going away. Now, I mean, you need to look at some of the things people are betting on, because I think you need to see it to fully appreciate how far and absurd things have really become. You can bet on sports, elections, weather, sure, but then it starts getting a little weird. You can bet on whether a 10 kiloton meteor hits Earth by 2030, which is funny until you realize if one actually lands, the payout is going to be the least of everyone's problem. Even the very thought of betting that it happens is insane. People are out there really trying to cash in on a catastrophic event. Now, people are also betting on how many times Elon Musk tweets in a given week. Not who he tweets at, not what he says, just the number. Someone sat down, picked a number and thought, yeah, I'm confident enough to put cash on it. And well, Elon is very vocal online, so maybe that is a solid bet. And then there's a market on whether the US invades Greenland this year, currently sitting at around 5% odds, which sounds low until you realize that's not zero. And then it stops being funny pretty fast, because Kalshi ran a market on whether there would be a mass starvation in Gaza. And right now, over $140 million has been placed on a single Polymarket bet about whether the US and Iran will reach a permanent peace deal. And look, I'm not here to tell you what to think about that, but there is a point where you go from this is kind of wild to, okay, who is exactly betting on this and why? Now, one of the interesting parts about all of this is that nobody knows what to call it. Not the government, not the states, not even the people running these platforms. The platforms say this isn't gambling. This is finance. Fancy. This is smart people using market data to predict real-world outcomes. Very sophisticated, very legitimate. Definitely not a casino. And then you have states like New Jersey, Washington, and Arizona going, yeah, no, you're a casino with better branding. Arizona actually went as far as filing criminal charges against Kalshi over its election betting markets. So now we have a federally approved financial platform facing criminal charges at the state level, simultaneously at the same time. I mean, when you are betting on anything from will it rain next Tuesday to will the government confirm aliens exist, and even betting on someone's life, you can't blame everyone trying to quickly figure out what this is and regulate it. And the reason why that gap exists is pretty simple. The whole industry exploded so fast that no one had time to write the rules before it was everywhere. Kalshi's trading volume grew over 1,600% in a single year. The law moves a bit slower than that. Now look, in the interest of being fair, prediction markets claim many benefits to using their systems. Their argument is actually kind of interesting. They say it isn't gambling because there's no house, no casino taking a cut, no bookie setting the odds against you. The odds are set by the market itself, by real people putting real money on what they genuinely think is going to happen. And the more that people participate, the more accurate it supposedly gets. And honestly, the data backs some of that up. Prediction markets call the 2024 election more accurately than a lot of major polls did. They've consistently outperformed traditional forecasting on a lot of major events. The very idea that having financial skin in the game makes people more honest about what they think is actually going to happen. That's not crazy. That's actually kind of logical. So it's not a scam. It's not nothing. Credit where it's due. There is something real here. But here's the thing. And this is where I need you to stay with me. Because the exact feature that makes these markets interesting is also what makes them genuinely dangerous. And that's what we need to talk about. Because as I'm sure you know, the world is full of honest, caring, and definitely not greedy people. Okay, story time. Because this is the part where it stops being an interesting internet thing and starts being a little bit of a problem. Caroline Leavitt is the White House press secretary, and someone opened a bet on Kalshi on exactly how long her next briefing would run. Real money bet on a matter of minutes. And during that briefing, mid-sentence, with cameras on, she glances at the clock and ends it. Right before the 65-minute mark. Right before. Now I want to be clear, nobody has proved that she did that because of the bet, but the fact that it's even a reasonable question to ask tells you where we are right now. Are you seeing the problem yet? Here's why that matters beyond just being a funny story. These platforms are classified as derivatives markets, not gambling, which means the insider trading rules that apply to Wall Street don't apply here. Convenient. So anyone can legally bet on something they have the ability to influence. There is no rule against it. And the press secretary thing, that's actually the tame version of this. Before the US operation that removed Venezuelan President Maduro from power, a single anonymous polymarket trader put big money on Maduro not lasting much longer, walking away with $400,000. Another trader dropped $553,000 on bets tied to Iran's supreme leader, right before he was killed by an Israeli strike. Coincidence? Maybe. Probably. Who knows? But when you've built a system where insider knowledge pays out in cash and nobody's checking, you kind of have to ask the question. So after all of that, the insider trading concerns, the manipulation questions, the press secretary glancing at the clock, you might be wondering what's actually being done about it. Not much. There have been bills introduced in Congress, bipartisan ones actually, which tells you something because bipartisan agreement in Congress right now is pretty much its own prediction market. And yet somehow that still hasn't been enough to move the needle. Senator Chris Murphy, who leads one of those bills, was asked about the chances of it passing. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Slim to none." A sitting senator used prediction market odds language to describe the likelihood of regulating prediction markets. We are fully in a simulation now. We have come full circle. And while Congress is busy not acting, the industry has been very busy doing the opposite. Kalshi and Polymarket dropped nearly $1 million on federal lobbying in 2025. Kalshi plastered Washington, D.C. in billboard ads. They ran spreads in the Washington Post. They literally opened up a physical space in the Capitol called the Situation Room. And get this, Kalshi and Polymarket both have Donald Trump Jr. as an advisor, the president's son. On both of them. Advisory and financial ties to both. Seriously, you can't make this up. So the people who would potentially regulate this thing are surrounded by it. And the people profiting from it are as close to power as you can get without being in office. Okay. So why should you care about any of this? You're probably not placing six-figure bets on geopolitical events. I'm definitely not. So why does it matter? Here's the thing I keep coming back to. We've accidentally built a system that pays people to be right, regardless of what being right actually means for anyone else. Someone bet on Maduro getting removed. They won $400,000. Great for them. Not so great if you're a Venezuelan and your country just got forced into a political crisis. Someone had $500,000 on what would happen to a world leader. And there is no rule that says the person placing that bet wasn't in a position to influence what happened. And that's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Or at least aware. The fact that we've created a financial incentive structure around real-world outcomes, including the bad ones, and the people best positioned to profit from that are the same people that are closest to the decisions that actually shape what happened. Which is a fun little circle if you think about it. I mean, imagine one day your grandkids ask you, "Grandpa, what did you do for a living?" "Well, Sonny, let me tell you. I bet money on a Tuesday rain shower, if President Trump will go on a podcast with the Hawk Tuah girl, and if aliens exist." I mean, does that not sound a little wild? And the reality is, that's probably already true for some people. Now, I'm not saying the whole thing needs to disappear. Genuinely, some of it is interesting. The idea that collective wisdom and some financial skin in the game can produce accurate predictions, that's not nothing. But there's a version of this that gets very dark very fast if the wrong people figure out how to use it. And based on what we've already seen, some of them already have. So maybe just keep an eye on it, because this thing is growing fast, and the people making rules about it probably have money on the outcome.
It's the most accurate thing we have as mankind right now, until someone else creates some sort of super crystal ball.
If you like this video, consider subscribing. I like to explore topics and events in our world that the everyday average human should probably care about. People like you and me who are probably sitting on the couch eating potato chips and wondering what everything means for us. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, everybody.